PBC on NBCSN, we look at Rickey Edwards and Kent Cruz. They are undefeated. Edwards is slightly older, and their reach advantage is almost spot on. As that's a look at the Corona tail of the tape. It's 8 rounds in this super lightweight bout. And the rules: no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the ref can stop the fight. Fighter can't be saved by the bell in any round. Fight's official after 4 again. This one is scheduled for 8. Let's go to Ray Flores, the arena announcer, for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, live on NBCSN from San Antonio, Texas. Premier Boxing Champions now features 8 rounds in the super lightweight division. The 3 judges ringside are Glenn Crocker, Joel Elizondo, and Ursula Perez. And the referee in charge when the bell sounds, Ellis Johnson. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the blue and the gray. His record a perfect 10 wins, 6 of those coming by way of knockouts. Fighting out of Austin, Texas. Introducing Kent, the Puerto Rican sensation, Cruz. And across the ring, his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white, black, and the gold. He also has an unblemished record, 11 wins, 3 of those coming by way of knockout against no losses. Joining us from Patterson, New Jersey, please welcome Rickey Patterson Boy Edwards.
It's scheduled for 8. There you see Rickey Edwards, Patterson, New Jersey, moved to Houston, Texas, so he could train with Ronnie Shields. Taking on Kent Cruz, who now lives in Austin, Texas. Both men undefeated. Most people expecting this to be an even fight. And a nice left early on by Cruz in the blue.
Going to be interesting, Kenny, whenever 2 undefeated fighters are facing each other. You know, what happens in the first round? You know, it's normally a round to feel each other out, to see who's setting the pace, but, you know, which fighter is going to go out there and grab the momentum and make the other guy fight his fight.
Fighter meeting yesterday, BJ, it was Cruz that said, I have to set the pace, set the tone, be aggressive. And Edwards is not the toughest opponent I've faced. That's what Cruz said.
And that's a possibility. Rickey Edwards has faced very modest opposition. So Kent Cruz comes in with a lot of confidence based on the fact that he feels like he's fought the better fighters, and he feels like that he can take advantage of Rickey Edwards' soft matchmaking.
And Edwards feels though that Cruz is a little bit of a wild fighter, and he can exploit that when he sees an opening.
That's going to remain to be seen, because it's sometimes when you watch a guy on video, you see things that are open, you see things that he doesn't do well, and then once you get in there with him, you realize, hey, he doesn't do them as bad as I thought he did. So it's going to be very intriguing this first couple rounds to see which fighter is able to set the tempo. Cruz landed a nice double jab right hand a second ago. Edwards still kind of looking for opportunities. You can see he's got those fast reflexes. He's got good counter-punching ability. And Cruz is kind of staying on the outside and looking to explode whenever he does punch. Neither guy is leaving a lot of holes and gaps after their shots.
Cruz now trying to work the body. Both men still in the feeling out process. A little more aggressive is Cruz. Maybe not pushing the pace like he was hoping to early on.
Both guys have good hand speed. Nice left hook by Cruz.
Cruz with the left.
And one thing when a guy's got hand speed like this, Kenny, if you're trying to counter punch him, sometimes you don't have the speed or the reflexes to be able to wait till he shoots it, make him miss, and catch him before he brings it back. Sometimes you got to time him. He'll shoot the jab, you come with the overhand right when he shoots it. He shoots the right hand, you're immediately slipping and coming with your left hook to the body or the head. So timing can be very important in this fight as well, depending on who asserts himself as the faster fighter.
We'll both talk about the speed they have. They feel it'll play to their advantage, and naturally both are very confident. They've had some good fights. They're both undefeated. This is the toughest matchup for both, many feel.
They're both fast, and when you got a guy that you're fighting with good hand speed, Kenny, you want to taunt him and feint him. See what he does. Make him show his cards. Make him show you what he's going to do when you show those big punches.
This round ticking down. In the last fight, it was David Perez with the knockout of Gustavo Molina. And he knocked him out cold. Molina was able to get up under his own power. And for more on that, let's check in now with Todd Harris.
All right, thank you very much, Kenny. We do want to give you an update on Gustavo Molina. As you said, knocked out in the late waning moments of his fight with David Perez. Now, I spoke with the ringside doctor, Dr. Wayne Lee, who is an orthopedic surgeon by practice, and he told me that Molina was knocked out cold, completely unconscious, but was able to get up and leave the arena on his own. He has been taken to Brooke Army Medical Center, and that is very close here to the arena. But Gustavo Molina is going there for precautionary reasons. They say they want to get him in, to get a scan of his head, make sure everything's okay. Obviously, safety first and foremost. Kenny.
All right, thank you, Todd. BJ, you said you thought Molina's corner should have stopped this fight earlier.
Yeah, I do. I think, you know, with the punishment he was taking throughout the rounds, and if you look back at the fight before, 35 days ago, another fight, he'd been knocked out a couple times in the last 6 months, and it's just not a situation where he was able to have success, and his corner's got to look out for the big picture and say, you know what, you fought a good fight, we're going to live to fight another day, we're pulling the plug on this thing.
And when he continues to fight like he just kept coming back and back, it's more on the corner than the referee, you think?
I think so, because the corner knows the fighter better, and the referee is still watching for moments, big barrages of punches that never really happened, even though Perez was in control. But the corner's got to step in and say, hey, we care about our guy.
All right. It's a little bit of a combination sometimes, isn't it?
I think it's more on the corner than the referee, because the referee only sees what he's seeing that night. And the corner knows the history of the fighter. They know what kind of wars he had in the gym, what he had in his last fight. And if he's not responding, sometimes it's just not the fighter's night.
Round 2 here. That's Cruz in the blue, Edwards in the gold, white, black.
I love seeing two undefeated fighters test each other, Kenny. Early in the career, both guys come in with a lot of confidence. 11-0 versus 10-0. Both fighters have a lot of good hand speed, and it's going to be interesting to see which fighter makes the adjustment in the second and third rounds to gain the edge.
Edwards trying to work the body there on the right side. Edwards, who sparred with Darwin Price, we'll see him in the main event coming up. He sparred with some good fighters in that powerhouse Ronnie Shields gym. He said that's given him a lot of confidence, and that's why he made the move from Jersey to Texas specifically to train with Shields.
And it does, you know, being in gyms like that, if you look at the Kronk gym in the 80s, you look at all those good fighters they had in there, all the good sparring, all the different types of fighters that you have in those Kronk gyms, you know, when you're coming up in the 80s and 90s. The sparring wars that you talked about and that you heard about from Emmanuel Stewart, of those fighters, it's not to that same level with Ronnie Shields, but Ronnie Shields has got the Charlos, he's got Arslan de Lara, he's got a lot of very good fighters that these kids aspire to be like, and you know, they're not scared to go in the gym and get work with those good guys, so it can't help but improve you as a fighter.
Oh, that's a right by Cruz, and Edwards is knocked down. Kent Cruz unloaded the right.
He doesn't know where he's at right now, Kenny. He's in a lot of trouble. He hit it with that overhand right on the top of the head. Beautiful shot.
The 10-0 Cruz has 6 knockouts in his career.
Edwards is still hurt. He's still hurt, Kenny.
And Cruz is coming right back, and Edwards is wobbly right now.
And this is going to be a defining moment for Edwards. He's either going to be able to get through this moment and always look back on it for the rest of his career and say, this is the point that changed my entire boxing career in life, or he's going to get knocked out now and he's going to go down as a overhyped prospect.
Well, he's holding on literally right there to Cruz. Now back at it. 35 ticks to go here in round 2, and Cruz wants to finish this off.
Don't look at the referee when you're hurt. You can't do it.
Edwards was complaining about a blow to the back of the head. Cruz moves back in. Now referee Ellis Johnson there to take care of things, and here we go back.
The only thing Edwards needs to worry about is getting out of this round. Don't try to be the referee. Do what you got to do. Protect yourself at all times. Buy time. Grab a hold of Cruz. Get through this round. Suck it up and get back to your corner and try to recoup.
Edwards knocked down in this round, but he's going to make it through this round. A great round it was for Kent Cruz. Another look at the big overhand right of Cruz that sent Edwards to the canvas. More when we come back. Back live, we're looking at the corner of Rickey Edwards, knocked down in that last round.
And we see how he set it up. A lot of times the straight punches, the fighters bring their hands forward, they'll reach, they'll try to paw at those shots. You see Edwards trying to reach here, a beautiful overhand right on the temple. Didn't even hit him that clean, but you know, sometimes those equilibrium shots can be very damaging. Going to be interesting to see how Cruz capitalizes on this next round of a still damaged Rickey Edwards.
Round 3 scheduled for 8. Kent Cruz is in the blue, Rickey Edwards in the white, gold, and black. Both men undefeated coming in.
And I've got Rickey Edwards down 2 rounds to 0, but with that 10-8 round, he's down by potentially 3 points now. And just going to be very interesting to see how a fighter with very low knockout percentage is able to come back from a deficit like this, Kenny.
Eric Raskin scoring that one 10-8, of course, with that knockdown in favor of Cruz.
Didn't see Eric's scorecard. Glad we agree.
Let's check in with Todd.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Ronnie, what did you see there in that round?
Well, he dropped his left hand and got hit with a good shot over the top. He was hurt, but, you know, we practice this stuff every day in the gym. You know, you get hurt, you know, go down, take the knee, and then when you get up, you know, box around a little bit, clear your head, and get back to it. I told him this round here, just stay on the outside and box. Don't try to do nothing crazy. You know, give away the next round. I don't care about it. But then we have to pick it back up.
All right, thanks so much, Ronnie. Kenny.
All right, thanks, Todd.
I love the experience from Ronnie talking about, hey, give away the next round. It doesn't matter. Let's get out of this round. Let's clear our heads, and we're going to pick it back up. But he realizes, you know, it's not a battle, it's a war, and it's an 8-round war in this particular fight. So you lose one round, you lose the battle. He maybe lost that one round, but, you know, live to fight another day, and Rickey Edwards can, you know, go back to the drawing board and bank a couple of these next few rounds, put himself back in this
Edwards
fight.
with a good right. That's been his best punch so far, and he tries to work the body to follow it up.
You see Cruz kind of smiling, looking over at the referee. I'm not sure what he's smiling about. He got hit with a clean overhand right, and you know, nothing to look at the referee about. That was a clean shot.
Why do they keep looking at the referee? Like you say, protect yourself at all times. It's universal.
Big right hand from
Another big
Cruz.
right by Cruz. Cruz is coming back.
And he just put Rickey Edwards on ice skates. You've never seen those kind of dance moves before, Kenny. He was shaking on that right hand. You hit him with a clean shot right on the chin, and that's what happens when you get hurt and you get damaged, and the brain isn't able to respond to those kind of punch. Clean right hand right on the chin, and you saw the legs of Rickey Edwards react.
Well, we saw a big right by Edwards, now a big right by Cruz. Cruz already with the knockdown. That was in the last round.
Edwards is still hurt. You see him when he fell forward, he just kind of tried to grab Cruz. He wasn't trying to be offensive, just trying to grab him and regain his balance. His legs still aren't there.
So Edwards making a comeback here in this round until that big right by Cruz, and then Cruz again. Nice combination here, final seconds, round 3.
Big right hand, and he hurt him again with that shot, Kenny.
Kent Cruz throwing some big power shots here in this round.
It's a shame, too, because Edwards had a good moment. He landed some good shots, and then Cruz comes back and really hurts him even worse.
Edwards started strong, Cruz closes strong.
Looking at some of the action in a very back and forth round. A nice overhand right to the top of the head by Edwards. And later in the round, Cruz kind of looking at the referee. I'm not sure what exactly he was looking at, but Cruz exacts his revenge. A beautiful straight right hand after hitting and knocking him down with the overhand right. Mix up those right hands, Kenny. You see him doing that again there, confusing Edwards and able to be very effective with that one punch.
There's Rickey Edwards, 11-0 coming into this fight. Said he's coming off his best camp ever. We'll see how he holds up here coming out round 4 scheduled for 8. Kent Cruz in the blue, both men undefeated coming into this. Super lightweights. And Cruz with a knockdown earlier in this fight and a good right hand that last round.
And except for the first round knockdown, Kenny, with the right hand, every right hand has been set up off the jab. And you see why that left jab is so important. Rickey Edwards shot the jab, the overhand right. Cruz, the jab, the straight right hand. It blinds the opponent, Kenny, and that's why it's so valuable. Both guys need to get back to that.
Let's check in with Eric Raskin. How'd you score that last one?
That was 10-9 for Cruz, Kenny. So I have him ahead. It's a shutout, 30-26. You had to give him the 10-8 round in the second. And a quick officiating point, I actually think there should have been a second knockdown called in the second round when Edwards voluntarily took that knee in the corner. I think the referee wanted to call a knockdown, but the timekeeper hadn't started counting, so he ended up calling it a slip.
Interesting point there. That was very nice, and there you see. Good shot here by Cruz again.
It's a great point, Eric, and I forgot to mention that earlier because the action started to pick up. But, you know, he definitely was a knockdown, and he definitely should have ruled that it could have been a 10-7 round. So, you know, it should have been another point in the book, but Cruz is having his way either way. But, you know, still was a referee error.
Edwards getting a little second life here again. Fires off a couple of nice jabs.
I like the poker face of Edwards, Kenny.
Good body shots here by Edwards. This is a strong round here for Edwards.
He's been hurt in this round. Cruz is smiling, he's laughing, he's doing things. And look, Edwards is just all about his business. He's got his lunch pail, he's going to work. He's gonna go out there and shoot those jabs, those right hands. He's gonna take what he can get. And he may not be the more talented fighter, but sometimes the harder worker and the more disciplined fighter can overcome some of that talent. And it looks like Rickey Edwards is gonna have to do that if he wants to win today. Pick up that lunch pail and go to work, son.
Well, Edwards said he learned to fight on the playgrounds. He was undefeated. Said the teacher would send home slips of paper to tell his mom that he'd been fighting again. He would throw them away. And finally convinced his mom to let him try boxing, and it's turned out pretty well so far, coming in here 11-0.
He's very talented, but you see the temperament. You see he's been hurt a couple times in this fight, Kenny, but he's stone-faced, he's walking forward, he's still trying to stick to what his corner's telling him, and I like the body language of Rickey Edwards in this fourth round. Definitely a change of momentum in this round, Kenny. You see Edwards starting to walk him back, and maybe conditioning's coming into play here. Both guys, when they're 10-0, 11-0, they haven't really been tested too much, so it's going to be interesting in these middle to late rounds who's able to impose their will.
Final seconds, fourth round. We're reaching the halfway point in this fight. Edwards coming back with a good round for Rickey Edwards, maybe his best yet. We're at the halfway point. And welcome back to San Antonio. You're looking at Marissa Watley from Rutherford, New Jersey, the fiance of Rickey Edwards, who is helped managing Rickey right now. She's also a public relations expert, and she talked Rickey into getting in touch with Ronnie Shields and got them together, and that's why he left Patterson, New Jersey for Houston, Texas. And they're getting married soon, probably by the end of this year. So they told us yesterday at the fighter meeting. And it was a good round for her fiance, Rickey Edwards, that last round. As we go into round 5, this one's scheduled for 8. Edwards undefeated in the gold, black, and white. Undefeated as well, Kent Cruz in the blue and gray.
You know, Cruz, Kenny, he's shown he's the harder puncher, and he's the sharper puncher, but big left hand, and he hurt him there.
He is hurt again. He is hurt again, and moving in is Cruz. Cruz trying to finish this off, and Edwards is hanging on.
And Kenny, this is something you can't teach a young prospect how to do. You can't teach him how to take a punch. You can either do it or you don't do it. And Edwards is learning the hard way that this is.
Cruz working the body there as well.
Stop! Edwards is learning the hard way that it's not so easy just to jump in there and beat some of these other guys who are 11-0. You know, you're going to have moments of adversity. You're going to have moments where you're hurt, where you don't know where you're at, where you're dizzy, and you got to be able to overcome those moments and battle back if you want to be a top prize fighter.
Well, just when Edwards was coming off his best round, it seemed like momentum was shifting a little bit toward him. It's Kent Cruz taking it all away in the first minute of this round.
He's a lanky young man. He's a lanky young fighter, and he does have gaps when he punches, so Cruz is taking advantage of that. And, you know, some guys just don't take punches well, and to be honest with you, Edwards has been shook up 4 or 5 times from Cruz, and Cruz is a decent puncher, no question about it, but like we talked about in the fighter meetings before, this is a big test and a big step up for Edwards, and you know, the corner of Ronnie Shields has got to be a little concerned with what they're seeing.
Both men calling it their step-up fight. This is the TV debut for Cruz in the blue. Second time that Edwards has been on TV. And they both know how big it is. And there again, it's Cruz hurting Edwards.
A rookie mistake, loading up with one shot. You know, he's not a KO puncher. He's 11-0 with 3 knockouts. His key is speed, athleticism, staying on the outside.
Cruz is looking to the referee and getting a shot in there was Edwards. And they keep looking at the ref. We've seen it at least 3 times in the fight, BJ.
He's going to look to the referee, and he's going to get hit with a clean shot because, you know, the ref does tell you before the fight, protect yourself at all times. He doesn't say, look at me and clinches whenever you think the other fighter's committing a foul.
That's youth league. You learned that in the 8- and 9-year-old class.
Well, it's going to sink in for Cruz after this fight because he's taken some good leather from Rickey Edwards while he's been looking at the referee.
Well, Cruz started out strong in this round, dominating the first minute. He had Edwards shaken up a bit, but Edwards is coming right back with under 30 to go.
You got to remember, the referee is just there to help catch things and not allow illegal things to happen. He's not going to be able to catch it all at the exact time when you think it's happening. So you just got to forget that the referee's even in the ring. You got to remember it's a fight, and you got to do what you got to do within the parameters of the rules, and make sure you're protecting yourself at all times.
Nice combination by Edwards. Edwards has ridden the roller coaster of emotions in this fight, hasn't he?
I like the instruction. You see the jab, right hand, left hand. Everybody shoots the jab, right hand. Jab, right hand, jab, right hand. You bring that third punch, hit him right on the chin. Beautiful combination by Cruz, and you see the effects of the punch, Kenny. He's not in good shape there.
Let's go back to that earlier fight, and we were talking about who should stop a fighter, keep an eye on their fighter. We heard Ronnie Shields just basically sum it up right there. He told him he gets busy or he's going to stop the fight on his own, telling Edwards that as this round starts.
And I don't know if Ronnie's completely serious about that or it's more of a scare tactic to jumpstart his fighter. But, you know, Ronnie also told him don't load up with one punch and don't come up with looping punches. Come with the straight punches down the middle. That's what's going to hit him. And you see Edwards load up with one overhand right that missed badly.
Edwards has taken some big shots, including being knocked down in this fight by Kent Cruz. Let's check in with Todd.
All right, thank you, Kenny. I'm here with Ray Oliver, the trainer for Kent Cruz. First thing I have to ask you, Ray, is what is Kent talking to? What is he trying to get to the official when he's kind of stopping in the middle of the fight?
This guy's notoriously known for holding. Notoriously known for holding. Last couple of fights, he was penalized for it. Actually should have been disqualified. But hey, that's no here or there. But basically, that's what it's about. Every time he gets stunned, he holds. It's the difference between clinching and holding. This guy's notorious for holding.
What do you want to see from your fighter for these last few rounds?
I want to put more pressure on. Set up that overhand right. Like that. There we go. Yeah. More pressure. More feints. Just start backing this guy up the whole fight, and eventually get him out of there.
All right, thanks, Rex. Kenny.
All right, thanks, Todd. And Cruz has followed that advice most of this fight.
He has. You see the weight on the back foot, Ken. You see he's got that real wide stance, so he's able to lean back whenever Edwards lunges in with those big shots. A lot of guys have a narrow stance, but, you know, Cruz is very wide. It gives him a lot of mobility in his upper body to be able to move out of the way of punches.
Well, that motivation's paying off a little bit here, it seems, for Edwards coming out in this round being very aggressive here.
He is, and if I'm Ronnie, I'm telling Rickey Edwards, I'm going to say, listen, I want you to shoot 35 to 40 jabs in this round, and I want you to mix up the speed of all of them. And when you feel like it's right, I want you to put the right hand and the left hook behind it. So the jab is going to do two things. It's going to keep Cruz off of him. It's going to keep him on his shield, keep him defensive, and it's also going to set up the right hand. So I think that one punch can accomplish all purposes for Rickey Edwards in this round.
Edwards putting together a good round so far. Round 6 of 8.
Taunt the jab, use the jab, shoot it down, come up with the right hand, left hook. I mean, it's really the key to everything. And, you know, Rickey Edwards with that hand speed and that length, he can really take advantage of those, of that tool.
A little wake-up call there for Edwards, and he is answering it here. As you heard Shields tell him, get busier. We're going to just stop this. Don't want you to get hurt. And Edwards is responding.
I don't think the fight's ready to be stopped. You know, just yet he's competitive, and you see he's got that hand speed, but he's got to show Ronnie something in the next couple rounds.
Well, Edwards is showing him something in this round. This has been a strong round here for Rickey Edwards.
And those are all just some of the heavyweight champions that he trained. David Tua, obviously a huge, huge puncher with the left hook. I remember when he used to train down in Phoenix with Roger Bloodworth. You know, after Ronnie Shields, Evander Holyfield, my favorite heavyweight when I was growing up, and Mike Tyson, you know, just an amazing, fearsome fighter and Hall of Fame fighter.
And Charlo now.
He's got a lot of talented guys. I'm not going to put Charlo in the category of any of those other three heavyweights, but he's definitely someone on the rise and someone to watch out for. A very good fighter.
Well, we're talking about the current Shields, and he's still very viable with some talented fighters out there like Charlo. And we're seeing now a rejuvenated, at least for the moment, Rickey Edwards also in that Shields camp. Here he is in the white, gold, and black, fighting against Kent Cruz. Both these men are in the first time ever past 6 rounds.
Charlo, very good. The best fighter Ronnie Shields has right now, Kenny, is Erslande Lara. He's a very big force at 154 pounds. He's fought Canelo, he's fought all the big names, and showed he's the good. So Erslande Lara, very talented. Charlo in that next tier right behind Erslande Lara. But you mentioned names like Holyfield and Tyson and David Tua, and that's just, you know, those are throwbacks. They're great, great heavyweights in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Edwards playing with more confidence here. Edwards and Cruz both putting no stock in this going past the 6th round for the first time, and ask if this fight went that far because they trained so much. Both coming off good camps, they felt comfortable if it goes the distance.
Yeah, but one thing you don't realize until you get into that 7th and 8th round, Kenny, is it's different doing it in sparring and it's different doing it on the lights, especially when you've been hurt already 3 or 4 times like Cruz has hurt Edwards.
You see Eric Raskin, unofficial score for us, all the way across. Edwards coming back a couple of rounds ago. He had his best round, and here he is again with a solid round here in round 7, matching up with Cruz.
Beautiful left hook by Cruz a second ago. You saw him do something nice. Jab, right hand, but then he hooked off the jab. He shot the jab and then immediately into that left hook. Surprised Rickey Edwards and caught him and pulled him across the ring. Nice straight right hand again from Cruz. Right down the middle. I love how he mixes that punch up.
Cruz has lived all over, from Rhode Island, St. Louis, now lives in Austin, spent time in Puerto Rico with his relatives there, and because of that, he said his idol growing up was, you want to guess, Felix Trinidad?
I wonder if Cruz speaks Spanish. But, you know, a lot of good fighters out of that Puerto Rico region. You know, Felix Trinidad, one of my favorite fighters. Also, Miguel Cotto.
Right now, Edwards is making a nice rebound here, hasn't he, in the later stages of this fight?
Yeah, he's doing well, but I still feel like Cruz is landing the cleaner punches in this round. Edwards is being busy, but the effective punches are coming from Cruz, and the power is definitely coming from Cruz.
Well, it's Cruz's fight right now. It's going to take a big effort here by Edwards to take that away from him. Edwards being knocked down earlier in this fight. And that is the end of the 7th round as we get ready to go into the final round here between Edwards and Cruz, these super lightweights. Expected to be relatively evenly matched. It's been that way, the edge to Cruz throughout the fight, but Edwards has come right back.
It's the last round. You need a knockout to win, son. Can't win this without no knockout. You understand? You keep swinging on wide shots. That don't make sense. You gotta throw the punches straight. You throw the punches straight, you allow yourself an opportunity. Let it spin.
Come on, man. Okay, you gotta be aggressive as hell, man.
You allow yourself an opportunity.
How they do it. All right. Double jab, right hand is working. Double jab, right hand. That short right hand is in there. In there. Keep your hands up.
He's safe in the corner of Rickey Edwards. Quite emphatically, Ronnie Shields telling him, you got to have a knockout if you want to win this fight. Here he comes, Edwards in the white, gold, and black. Cruz in the blue.
Well, you know, one thing you can't accuse Ronnie Shields of is playing favorites with his fighters. He tells his fighters exactly how it is, and a lot of times that's what they need. And, you know, I think Rickey Edwards is going to go back to the tape after this fight, and, you know, his whole corner and his whole team needs to sit down with him and say, listen, we've got to figure out a way to where you're not getting hit with those shots, because, you know, Cruz isn't the biggest puncher, but it's not really anything that Rickey isn't doing. He's just not taking the punches well, Kenny, at all, and I think this is his first real test, so it's a little alarming to see that.
Well, and this is a guy not known for knockouts. Of his 11 victories, only 3 coming by way of knockout for Edwards. And Edwards has never been this far in a fight before, neither also is Cruz. First time they have gone 8 rounds. And Edwards told us yesterday, because of his frame, he was told early on his frame, he looked a little bit like Tommy Hearns. So he looked him up on the internet and watched a bunch of YouTube fights of the Hitmans. He needs some Tommy Hearns action here if he's going to pull this fight out, probably, BJ.
Let's make no mistake about it. Rickey Edwards might look like Thomas Hearns, but there's only one Thomas Hitman Hearns, and he had that polarizing power that could just completely separate you from your senses. And at the 147, 160-pound divisions, that was so rare back then. What he did to Iran Barkley and what he did to so many other great welterweights and middleweights was just so unorthodox. He just had that lethal, devastating right hand, and he was mean too, Kenny. He would really go into those press conferences and tell you exactly how he was going to beat you, and go in there and do just that.
Edwards 11-0, Cruz 10-0 coming in.
I remember the great fight with Thomas Hitman Hearns and Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Tommy was one of my favorite kids, one of my favorite fighters when I was a kid. And we had the fight taped. I remember at Caesar's Palace, and I'd watch the fight tape over and over again, kept hoping that the result was going to be different one of those times when I watched it, because I really love Tommy Hearns, so it hurt me when Hagler beat him like that.
We're under 50 seconds to go in this one. Edwards, Cruz, first time for both men into the 8th round. Both men trying to stay undefeated. We heard Edwards' corner, his manager, the renowned Ronnie Shields, his trainer, telling him, you have to have a knockout to win this fight. That's what they think. Can Edwards pull one out in the final 28 seconds? solid fight for Kent Cruz. A knockdown earlier in this fight.
Yeah, he did enough tonight, Kenny. He clearly won the fight on my scorecard and, really showed a lot of promise and poise, moving in the future. They got to be excited about Cruz and his future as a prospect in this division.
It's counting down. 2 undefeated fighters going the distance and putting it in the hands of the judges, Cruz and Edwards. Undefeated fighters going the distance, Rickey Edwards and Kent Cruz. The judges have made their decision, and here to read the verdict, let's go to arena announcer Ray Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds, we go to the scorecards. Here are your score totals. Judge at ringside, Glenn Crocker scores the bout 77-74, and judges Ursula Perez and Joel Elizondo see the bout the same, 77-73. All for your winner by unanimous decision, and still undefeated, Kent, the Puerto Rican sensation, Cruz.